Every day, the world awakens to the life-giving warmth of the sun. For the ancient Egyptians, this was the daily triumph of Ra, the king of the gods. But his work was not done when he vanished below the western horizon. As twilight descended, Ra embarked on his most perilous journey, a nightly voyage through the treacherous underworld known as the Duat. On his solar barque, he transformed from a vibrant god of light into a ram-headed soul, navigating a realm of formidable spirits and cosmic dangers. Each hour of the night presented a new challenge, a new gate to pass, a new trial to overcome. This was no mere passage, it was a cosmic battle for existence itself. For in the deepest abyss of this other world lurked his eternal enemy, the serpent Apep, the embodiment of chaos. If Ra failed, the sun would not rise, order would crumble, and creation would be unmade. This is the story of the sun's hidden journey, a nightly struggle to ensure a new dawn. Across the fertile plains of Egypt, a daily spectacle of breathtaking beauty unfolds. The sun, a disk of liquid fire, descends towards the western hills, painting the sky in hues of amber, crimson, and violet. For the people who live by the rhythms of the Nile, this is not an ending. It is a transition, a moment of profound cosmic significance. They do not see the sun merely setting. They see their creator god, Ra, beginning the most perilous and important journey imaginable. As the last sliver of his light kisses the horizon, he leaves the world of the living, his daytime barque, known as the Manjet, arriving at the very edge of existence. This is the Akhet, the horizon, a place that is neither day nor night, neither earth nor sky. It is a gateway. To the ancient Egyptians, the disappearance of the sun was a source of both faith and apprehension. They understood that beneath the world they knew lay another realm, the Duat. This was not a place of eternal punishment, but a complex, multifaceted underworld filled with gods, spirits, and formidable challenges. It was a world of trial and transformation, through which Ra must pass every single night to be reborn at dawn. His journey was their salvation. Without it, the sun would not rise, the crops would fail, the Nile would cease to flow, and Mayat, the fundamental principle of order, truth, and cosmic balance, would be undone, plunging the universe into the infinite chaos from which it was born. As families gather in their homes, lighting clay lamps against the encroaching twilight, they offer prayers for the sun god's success. They recite hymns that have been passed down for generations, words of power intended to strengthen Ra on his path. They know he is not just traveling for himself, he is carrying the promise of life for all creation. In the Duat, he brings a temporary light to the blessed souls of the departed, allowing them to awaken from their slumber and find comfort. He must also confront the forces that seek to unravel creation, a legion of hostile beings led by his ultimate adversary. Every sunset, therefore, marks the start of a cosmic contest, a nightly renewal of the battle between order and chaos. The fate of everything hangs in the balance, every single night. As the final gleam of sunlight vanishes from the highest peak, a profound quiet settles over the land. The Manjet barque has reached its destination. Before Ra lies the western gate, the imposing entrance to the underworld. The journey into the great unknown has begun. The world of the living is now behind him. Ra stands at the threshold of the Duat, a realm inaccessible to mortals. Before him loom the gates of the first hour of the night, a monumental structure that defies physical description. These are not mere doors of wood or stone. They are conceptual barriers, guarded by divine sentinels with imposing forms and secret names. Ancient texts describe them as colossal pylons that reach to the heavens, protected by serpent gods who challenge all who approach. To pass, one cannot use force. One must possess divine authority and sacred knowledge. This is the first of 12 great tests that Ra will face before the dawn. As he approaches, Ra transitions from his daytime vessel to the Mesektet, the night barque. This sacred boat is designed for the mystical waters of the underworld, crewed by a select company of gods who will aid him in his passage. The first hour of the Duat is a region known as Vernus, a transitional zone. The atmosphere is heavy with primordial energy. Here, the laws of the physical world no longer apply. Time flows differently, and the landscape is one of symbols and archetypes. The gatekeepers, with names like He Who Opens the Way and Vigilant of Face, do not seek a physical toll. They demand a spiritual one, the speaking of the correct words of power. Ra, as the supreme creator, knows the secret names of all things, for he brought them into being. He addresses each guardian by its true name, an act which asserts his dominion and proves his right to enter their domain. This ritual is essential. It reaffirms the cosmic order. By demonstrating his supreme knowledge, Ra establishes that he is not an intruder, but the rightful master of this realm, bringing his organizing light into a place of potential chaos. The incantations he recites are not simple passwords. They are creative utterances that reinforce the structure of the universe. For the ancient Egyptians, words held immense power, and the right words, spoken by a god, could shape reality itself. With each correct response, the guardians yield. The air crackles with divine energy as the immense, symbolic gates begin to swing inward. They open not onto a cavern or a tunnel, but onto a vast subterranean river, the waterway that snakes through the entirety of the Duat. Its waters are calm but opaque, reflecting a starless sky. The Mesektet barque glides silently through the opening, leaving the memory of the sunlit world behind. The gate closes with a sound like a distant tremor, sealing the way. The first hour has been passed, but the true depths of the underworld now lie ahead. Having passed the first gate, Ra is no longer the same deity who warmed the world of the living. The journey through the Duat demands a profound change, a mystical alteration of his very being. As the Mesektet barque drifts upon the silent river of night, Ra undergoes a sacred transformation. The youthful, vigorous sun god of the morning, the powerful ruler of midday, now takes on the form of an aged man. This physical change symbolizes the waning sun, the elder statesman of the cosmos, who has completed his daily work. But this is merely the outward sign of a much deeper, more significant union. To navigate the complexities of the underworld, Ra must merge his essence with its undisputed master, Osiris, the lord of the departed. Osiris represents permanence, stability, and the promise of life after passing. While Ra governs the dynamic, cyclical nature of the living world, Osiris presides over the static, eternal realm of the afterlife. On their own, they are incomplete. Ra, a being of pure light and life, cannot fully comprehend or command the forces of the Duat. Osiris, bound to his subterranean kingdom, cannot generate the rejuvenating energy needed to sustain the cosmos. Each night, in a theological masterstroke, these two great powers become one. Ra's life-giving spirit enters the form of Osiris, creating a new, composite deity of immense power, Ra-Osiris. Visually, this being is often depicted as a man with the head of a ram, a sacred animal associated with creative force and solar power, wearing the grand crown of Osiris. He is the flesh of Ra and the soul of Osiris combined. This union is the central pillar of the nightly journey. As Ra-Osiris, the sun god is now equipped to perform his duties in the underworld. He carries the light of Ra, bringing a temporary day to the blessed souls who dwell in the Duat, illuminating their existence and reminding them of the world above. Simultaneously, he wields the authority of Osiris, allowing him to pass judgment, command the spirits of the realm, and navigate its treacherous regions. This fusion is the very engine of cosmic regeneration. It is the moment when life meets the afterlife, when the dynamic energy of the sun revitalizes the static world of the departed, ensuring that both realms remain in balance. Now transformed, Ra Osiris stands at the prow of the solar barque. He is ancient and powerful, a unified god prepared for the trials ahead. His new form is a beacon of hope for the righteous, but a symbol of authority to the hostile forces that lurk in the deeper hours of the night. The journey of Ra Osiris is a divine mission of the highest order, and he does not undertake it alone. The Mesektet, or night barque, is crewed by a specialized team of gods and goddesses, a pantheon of cosmic specialists whose combined powers are necessary for the voyage's success. This is not a crew of simple sailors. Each member is a personification of a fundamental cosmic principle, working in perfect harmony to guide the vessel through the perils of the Duat. Their unity is a reflection of the interconnectedness of the universe itself, a demonstration that even the Supreme Creator relies on the diverse strengths of the divine order. At the prow of the barque stand two crucial figures who act as its navigators and guides. The first is Sia, the god of perception and divine knowledge. He is the mind of the Creator, able to comprehend the path ahead, recognize the nature of the spirits they encounter, and understand the intricate map of the underworld. Beside him stands Hu, the personification of authoritative utterance, the divine word. When Sia perceives the way, it is Hu who speaks the commands that make it so. His pronouncements clear obstacles, pacify hostile spirits, and affirm Ra's will. Together, Sia and Hu represent the creative process, an idea conceived and then brought into being through speech. Steering this divine vessel is often the falcon-headed god Horus, son of Osiris, representing rightful kingship and the mastery required to guide the cosmic state. His steady hand ensures the barque stays its course on the winding river of night. The most important force protecting the barque is Heka, the god of magic itself. He is not merely a user of magic, he is its living embodiment. Heka's presence infuses the vessel with a protective aura, empowering the incantations and rituals needed to overcome the Duat's challenges. And standing ready for the greatest physical threat is a surprising figure, the god Seth. Known in many myths as an adversary, the god of storms and chaos, here his immense strength is a vital asset. He stands at the forefront of the barque, brandishing a spear, his chaotic energy channeled into a protective role. Only Seth possesses the raw power necessary to confront the monstrous serpent who is Ra's ultimate foe. This complex role highlights the Egyptian understanding that some forces, while disruptive, are necessary to maintain cosmic balance. With this crew of perception, command, magic, and might assembled, the solar barque is fully prepared. As they glide deeper into the Duat, a low rumble begins to echo from the waters ahead, a sign that their combined strength is about to be tested. The Duat is not a single, uniform place, but a series of 12 distinct regions, each corresponding to 1 hour of the night. The journey of the solar barque is a carefully charted passage through these ever-changing landscapes, all connected by a great subterranean river. This is not a river of water, but of primordial time and space, a celestial counterpart to the earthly Nile. Its banks are lined with realms of wonder and peril, all meticulously detailed in ancient funerary texts like the Amduat and the Book of Gates, which served as guidebooks for the afterlife. In the second and third hours of the night, the journey is relatively calm, a period of transition and blessing. After passing the first gate, the barque enters a fertile, agricultural region of the underworld known as Vernus. Here, the blessed departed, those who lived a righteous life, are granted vast fields to tend. As Ra's light passes over them, they are revitalized and nourished. His presence is a gift, a temporary sun that warms their spiritual existence and reaffirms their reward. The spirits on the banks hail the solar barque, their voices rising in cheers of adoration. They are not merely spectators. Their praise and prayers add to the divine energy that propels Ra forward, creating a symbiotic relationship between the Creator and his creations. Proceeding into the third hour, the barque enters the water of Osiris. This is a realm of pure rejuvenation. Here, the blessed are able to drink from the life-giving waters and are cleansed of any remaining earthly impurities. Ra's role in these early hours is one of a benevolent ruler inspecting his domain. He pronounces judgments, issues decrees, and provides sustenance to the worthy. His journey is an active process of maintaining cosmic order, not just in the world of the living, but in the afterlife as well. He separates the worthy from the unworthy, ensuring that the principles of Ma'at are upheld even in this hidden realm. The crew of the barque remains vigilant, as guardians and strange beings populate the riverbanks, but the primary challenges are still to come. The initial hours have been a confirmation of divine order, a peaceful procession through the fields of the blessed. But this tranquility is deceptive. The river's current begins to quicken, and the cheers from the banks fade into an expectant silence. The barque is now approaching the fourth hour, a treacherous, sandy realm of serpents and the domain of the ultimate enemy of the light. The sun sets, painting the western sands in hues of fire and amber. For the people of the Nile, this is a moment of transition, a surrender to the coming night. But for their chief deity, Ra, it is the beginning of the most perilous journey imaginable. As his magnificent solar vessel, the Manjet Barque, dips below the horizon, the god himself undergoes a profound transformation. He is no longer the vibrant, powerful ruler of the day, but Atum, the aged creator god, leaning on a staff, his form weary, but his purpose resolute. He is entering the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, a realm of spirits, challenges, and profound cosmic truths. The first hour of the night, known as Wernet, is a deceptively calm beginning to this 12-hour ordeal. The barque glides not upon earthly water, but on the primordial river that flows through the underworld. The realm is vast and silent, illuminated only by the divine radiance emanating from Ra himself. On the banks of this spiritual river, a host of figures appears. These are the blessed dead, the righteous souls who have passed the final judgment and earned their place in the afterlife. They are not here to challenge the sun god, but to aid him. Their hands grasp the tow rope of the divine vessel, their collective strength helping to pull Ra forward through this transitional realm. Their chants of praise are the first sounds heard in the Duat, a chorus of gratitude for the light that sustains them even in this spiritual place. Accompanying Ra on the barque is a select crew of powerful deities, each with a critical role. Sia stands at the prow, the personification of divine perception, foreseeing the path ahead. Beside him is Hu, the embodiment of authoritative utterance, whose commands shape reality. And at the heart of the vessel is Heka, the god of magic, the raw power that protects the crew and enables their passage through the impossible landscapes of the underworld. This first hour is a procession of majesty and solemn purpose. It reaffirms Ra's role not just as the sun, but as the sustainer of all life, both in the world above and the spiritual realm below. The journey is a sacred duty, a nightly renewal of the cosmic order. But as the barque leaves the cheering crowds of the blessed behind, the waters ahead grow still and reflective. The light from Ra's vessel seems to stretch, casting long, wavering shadows. The initial welcome gives way to an expectant quiet, a profound silence that hints at the formidable nature of the hours to come. The true tests of the Duat are just beginning. Leaving the peaceful reception of the first hour, Ra's barque navigates into the second and third hours of the night, regions known as Vernus and Net Ra. the landscape of the Duat transforms. The open, tranquil river gives way to a more complex and populated territory, a spiritual reflection of the fertile lands of Egypt itself. Here, the underworld is not a void, but a vibrant, albeit shadowy kingdom teeming with countless spirits and lesser deities. These are not the damned, but beings who exist in a state between life and the eternal paradise of the fields of Iaru. Their existence is cyclical, tied directly to the nightly passage of the sun god. As Ra's light penetrates these domains, the inhabitants stir. They emerge from the sandy plains and hidden caverns, their forms varied and wondrous. They are the residents of the underworld, and they depend on Ra's radiance for their very sustenance. For a brief moment each night, his light provides them with nourishment, vitality, and awareness. In return, they offer their adoration. A great chorus of voices rises to greet the solar Barque, a symphony of praise that echoes through the vast, unseen chambers of the Duat. This is a crucial, symbiotic relationship. Ra provides for the spirits of the underworld, and their collective worship strengthens him, reinforcing his authority and power for the trials that lie ahead. The ancient texts describe this region in detail, naming the divine inhabitants and their specific roles in the cosmic machinery. Baboons, symbols of wisdom and heralds of the dawn, are said to sing hymns of praise as Ra passes. Other gods, whose forms are often depicted on tomb walls, stand in reverence, acknowledging their sovereign creator. This part of the journey demonstrates that the underworld is not merely a path of peril, but a complex, functioning society with its own structure and purpose, all centered around Ra's nightly renewal. But the symphony of praise is not the only sound that fills the air. As the Barque moves deeper, a different vibration begins to travel through the waters, a low and dissonant hum that seems to emanate from the very foundations of the Duat. It is a sound of immense, ancient power, a malevolent presence that seeks to absorb all light and sound. The friendly voices begin to falter, overshadowed by this growing disturbance. The greatest adversary of creation is stirring from its slumber in the deepest pits of the underworld, preparing to challenge the sun. Before the ultimate confrontation with chaos, the divine journey offers a profound reminder of what is at stake. As the solar Barque glides through the fourth hour of the night, it passes a realm distinct from the shadowy landscapes of the Duat. This is the Fields of Iaru, also known as the Field of Reeds, the ancient Egyptian vision of paradise. It is not a place Ra enters, for his duty lies in the underworld, but his passage illuminates it, sustaining its eternal perfection. The Fields of Iaru represent the ultimate reward for a righteous life. It is a perfect idealized reflection of the Nile Valley, free from hardship, illness, or want. Here, the justified souls, known as the Ak, live in eternal bliss. The scenery is one of impossible abundance. The barley grows taller than a man, the canals are filled with cool, fresh water, and the fruit trees are perpetually laden with their bounty. The souls of the deceased are depicted enjoying the simple, profound pleasures they knew in life, but elevated to a state of divine permanence. They are shown plowing the fertile earth, sailing on the gentle waterways, and playing Senet, a popular board game, in shaded pavilions. This idyllic realm is a testament to Ma'at, the cosmic principle of order, truth, and justice that Ra champions. The existence of Iaru is entirely dependent on Ra's nightly victory over the forces of chaos. His journey through the Duat ensures that the sun will rise again, and it is this rising sun that provides the light and warmth that nourish this spiritual paradise. Without his successful passage, the Fields of Iaru would fade, its eternal spring would turn to dust, and the hopes of every Egyptian for a blessed afterlife would be extinguished. The vision of this perfect existence serves as a powerful motivator for the divine crew. It is a tangible representation of their sacred mission. They are not just fighting for the sun to rise on the mortal world, they are fighting to preserve the eternal happiness of countless souls. But this peaceful interlude is brief. The glowing vision of the tranquil fields recedes as the bark continues its inexorable path forward. The gentle canals of Iaru are replaced by a far more formidable sight, a series of towering gates, each one marking the entrance to a new, more dangerous region of the Duat. The time for contemplation is over. The true trials are about to begin. The journey through the Duat now becomes a structured, ritualistic series of trials. The underworld is not an open expanse, but is divided into 12 distinct regions, corresponding to the 12 hours of the night. To pass from one hour to the next, Ra's bark must navigate through a massive, heavily fortified gate. Each gate is a significant obstacle, protected by a fearsome guardian who exists to enforce the laws of the underworld and prevent any unworthy being from passing. These are not battles of pure physical strength. They are contests of divine authority and sacred knowledge. The guardians are formidable beings, often depicted with hybrid forms combining human and animal features, brandishing imposing weapons like knives or spears. The fourth gate, for example, is guarded by deities with serpent heads, while the fifth is protected by figures whose very bodies are made of blades. However, these guardians are not fundamentally malevolent. They are functionaries of the underworld, integral parts of its complex bureaucracy. Their purpose is to challenge all who approach, ensuring that only the rightful sovereign of the cosmos can complete the journey. To pass, Ra must demonstrate his supreme authority. This is achieved through the power of words and names. In ancient Egyptian belief, to know the true name of a being or an object was to have power over it. As the solar bark approaches each gate, Ra must correctly identify the gate itself, its guardian, and any associated deities. The gods Sia, perception, and Hu, utterance, are critical here. Sia knows the secret names, and Hu proclaims them with divine authority. By speaking their names, Ra asserts his mastery over them, proving his identity and his right to continue. The guardians, bound by cosmic law, must then step aside and allow the bark to pass. This ritual is repeated at each of the 12 gates, with the challenges becoming progressively more difficult. The tension mounts with each successful passage as the crew navigates deeper into the heart of the Duat. This part of the journey highlights the Egyptian emphasis on knowledge, ritual, and the magical power of language as essential components of divine power. Having successfully navigated through the majority of the gates with ancient words of power, Ra and his crew now approach the deepest part of the night. But the final adversary is not a gatekeeper who can be pacified with a name. It is the embodiment of chaos itself, a primordial force whose only purpose is to devour the sun and plunge all of creation into an eternal, silent void. The great serpent is waiting. In the 7th hour, the midpoint of the night and the deepest, most perilous moment of the journey, the solar bark enters a realm of profound mystery and danger. This is the cavern of Sokar, a chthonic deity of the underworld, a place of sand and deep shadow. It is here, in the darkest part of the Duat, that Ra must confront his eternal nemesis, the ultimate embodiment of chaos. Apep. Apep is not a god. He is never worshipped, and no temples are built in his name. He is the antithesis of creation, a colossal serpent of unimaginable size who dwells in the waters of the underworld. His sole purpose is to intercept Ra's bark, swallow the sun god, and stop the cosmic cycle, thereby ending all existence. He is the personification of non-being, the force that seeks to undo the work of the Creator. As Ra's vessel enters his domain, the waters churn violently. Apep's monstrous roar, it was believed, could cause storms and earthquakes in the world of the living. The confrontation is immediate and absolute. This is the climax of the nightly journey, a cosmic battle repeated in an endless cycle. The crew of the Barque, a pantheon of Egypt's most powerful deities, springs into action. At the prow stands Set, the god of storms and strength, often viewed as a chaotic figure himself, but here his power is harnessed for the cause of order. He thrusts his spear at the serpent's head, repelling the initial assault. The goddess Serpent, mistress of scorpions, and other protective deities, use their potent magic, casting spells to bind and disorient the great beast. The blessed dead, who have been helping to tow the Barque, now add their voices, shouting incantations to weaken the serpent. Ra himself, in his united form with Osiris, unleashes his own divine power, his light a weapon against the profound gloom that Apep represents. The struggle is immense, a clash of fundamental forces. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance every single night. Through the combined might of the gods, Apep is repelled. He is pierced, subdued, and driven back into the murky depths, but he is never fully destroyed. Chaos, the Egyptians understood, could never be permanently eradicated from the cosmos. It could only be defeated and held at bay. The Barque, battered but intact, sails onward. The greatest threat has been overcome, but the night is not yet over. The final hours leading to dawn still hold their own secrets, and the promise of rebirth is close, but not yet guaranteed. As the Mesektet, the Barque of millions of years, glides into the fourth hour of the night, the tranquil waters of the underworld begin to stir. This is not a gentle disturbance, but a profound tremor that resonates through the very fabric of creation. It is the arrival of Apep, the ultimate embodiment of chaos, a being whose existence is anathema to the structured cosmos. Ancient texts describe Apep not merely as a creature, but as a force of nature, a serpent of impossible scale, its coils said to encircle the world, its body stretching for miles through the Duat. Its approach is heralded by a low, guttural sound, a vibration that is felt more than heard, a cosmic roar that signifies the unraveling of order. The deities aboard the solar barque feel it in their divine essence. The light from Ra's vessel seems to dim, its golden luminescence absorbed by the encroaching void. Apep is the antithesis of Ra. Where the sun god represents light, life, and the predictable cycle of day and night, the great serpent represents the infinite, formless abyss that existed before creation. Its goal is not simply to defeat Ra, but to swallow the sun, to unmake the world, and to return everything to the silent, inert state of non-being from which it came. This nightly confrontation is the most critical event in the Egyptian mythological framework. The stakes are nothing less than the continuation of all existence. If Apep were to succeed even once, the sun would not rise. The world of the living would be plunged into an eternal winter, crops would fail, the Nile would cease to flow, and the souls of the departed would be lost in the void. Every night, this colossal serpent rises from the deepest trenches of the underworld to challenge the passage of the sun. It creates sandbanks to strand the barque and churns the waters into a frenzy. Its presence is a test of cosmic fortitude, a primordial battle that has been waged since the dawn of time and must be won anew with each journey through the 12 hours of the night. As the shadow of its head, vast as a mountain range, looms over the divine vessel, the crew prepares for the inevitable clash, knowing that the fate of two worlds rests upon their shoulders. At the very prow of the solar barque, standing resolute against the encroaching chaos, is a figure of immense power and complexity, Seth, the god of storms, deserts, and disorder. His presence here is one of ancient Egypt's most profound paradoxes. On Earth, Seth is often a disruptive force, the rival of Horus and the usurper of his brother Osiris's throne. Yet, in the underworld, this same chaotic energy makes him the perfect champion to face the ultimate chaos of Apep. While other gods might be paralyzed by the serpent's terrifying presence, Seth thrives in the heart of the storm. He is the only deity with the raw, untamable strength necessary to physically confront the great serpent. He wields a celestial spear, forged by the gods, which glows with a light of its own. As Apep lunges towards the barque, its jaws open to swallow the sun, it is Seth who leaps into action. His battle cries are the thunder that echoes in the desert, his movements as swift as the sandstorm. The Egyptians believed that Apep possessed a hypnotic gaze, a stare that could mesmerize and immobilize any who looked upon it. But Seth, being a god of disorder himself, was uniquely immune to this power. His own chaotic nature made him impervious to the serpent's primary weapon. He could look directly into the void and not flinch. This knightly duty is a form of cosmic balance and perhaps redemption. Seth's protective role aboard the barque is not a contradiction of his nature, but its highest expression. He turns his inherent ferocity outward, defending the divine order he so often challenges in the mortal realm. His struggle is a testament to the idea that even the most disruptive forces can have a vital, protective purpose within the grand scheme of the cosmos. He is the necessary antibody to the ultimate disease of non-existence. Without Seth at the prow, the barque would be defenseless against Apep's direct assault. He is Ra's guardian, the divine warrior whose strength ensures that the journey through the underworld can continue, hour after perilous hour, until the dawn. While Seth provides the physical defense at the prow, the battle against Apep is not won by brute force alone. It is a multifaceted war, fought with magic and intellect as much as with a spear. The solar barque is a vessel crewed by some of the most powerful divine beings, each with a crucial role to play. Central among them are the great magicians, Isis and Thoth, whose words of power form an invisible shield around the light of Ra. As Apep approaches, Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, knowledge, and writing, stands beside the central shrine. He holds a papyrus scroll inscribed with the most potent divine utterances. These are not mere words, but the foundational language of creation. Thoth recites the spells in a steady, resonant voice, and with each syllable, reality itself is reinforced around the barque. His incantations have the power to name and therefore control the forces of chaos. By speaking Apep's secret names, he weakens the serpent, sowing confusion in its vast, malevolent mind. Beside him often stands Isis, the goddess of magic, whose power is legendary. While Thoth's magic is intellectual and ordered, Isis's is intuitive and potent. She gestures with her hands, weaving ethereal threads of light into complex patterns that form a protective ward. This magical barrier shimmers around the Mesektet, deflecting the chaotic energy that radiates from Apep. Her spells can also create illusions, making the barque appear in a different location or even transforming it to navigate treacherous parts of the Duat. Other deities contribute their unique abilities. Heka, the very personification of magic, amplifies the power of every spell cast. The god Sia, representing perception and understanding, helps the crew anticipate Apep's movements and navigate the ever-shifting landscape of the underworld. Together, this divine assembly creates a symphony of protective power. Their combined efforts ensure that the barque is more than just a boat. It is a moving fortress of divine order, a sanctuary of light navigating a sea of absolute nothingness. The spells are the unseen armor, the intellectual strategy that complements Seth's physical might, ensuring that the sun god is protected on all fronts as he journeys through the deepest night. The journey through the Duat is not uniform. Its landscape changes with each passing hour, growing progressively more challenging. The 4th and 5th hours mark the transition into the deepest, most formidable region of the underworld, the kingdom of Sokar. Here, the familiar river of the underworld vanishes, replaced by an immense, arid desert of black sand. the solar barque can no longer sail. In this moment of profound transformation, the vessel itself changes form, often depicted as becoming a great serpent, its divine passengers held safely within. It glides silently over the dunes of this desolate, lightless realm. Sokar is an ancient god of the earth and artisans, but also a mysterious figure associated with the most remote parts of the underworld. His kingdom is a place of secrets and profound quiet, a stark contrast to the chaotic waters where Apep often attacks. The challenge here is not a direct confrontation, but one of endurance and passage. The air is thick with an oppressive stillness. This is the hour of greatest vulnerability for Ra. He is at his most aged, his light a mere ember compared to its noonday brilliance. The crew must navigate by memory and divine insight, for there are no stars or landmarks in this featureless expanse. The path is guarded by strange hybrid creatures and fire-breathing serpents loyal to Sokar. The texts describe this region as the land of the secret cavern, a place where the sun god must pass through a metaphorical process of renewal, akin to a seed being buried in the earth before it can sprout anew. It represents the psychological nadir of the journey, the point where hope is most distant and the promise of dawn seems almost impossible. The barque must travel through narrow passages and past gates that open only to those who know the correct magical words. Failure to navigate this section means being trapped forever in the sands of Sokar, the sun never to rise again. It is a silent, suspenseful trial, a test of knowledge and will rather than pure strength. The successful passage through this deepest hour is a critical turning point, proving that even in the most profound absence of light and life, the divine order persists, pushing ever onward toward the promise of regeneration and rebirth. Having endured the desolate sands of Sokar and survived the relentless assaults of chaos, the solar barque arrives at the 6th hour, the very heart of the underworld. This is not a realm of conflict, but of sacred rejuvenation. Here, in the deepest chamber of the night, resides Osiris, the silent king of the departed, the god of resurrection and eternal life. His kingdom is a place of profound peace, a sanctuary where the cycle of existence is renewed. The arrival of Ra is a moment of supreme cosmic importance. Ra, the sun god, is the dynamic force of life in the world above, but by this hour his energy is nearly spent. He is the aged atom, weary from his journey. Osiris, in contrast, represents the static, latent potential of life, the regenerative power that lies dormant beneath the earth. The two great deities meet in a symbolic and powerful union. In a sacred cavern, the soul of Ra descends from his barque and merges with the body of Osiris. This is not a fusion of equals, but a complementary exchange. Ra brings his Ba, his active soul and animating spark, to the inert form of Osiris. In turn, Osiris infuses Ra with his own regenerative power, the promise of rebirth that he offers to all the righteous souls in his care. The texts describe this as Ra resting in Osiris and Osiris embracing Ra. Through this divine union, Ra is reborn. The weary, aged sun god is filled with new life, his divine energy completely restored. He becomes Khepri, the young scarab beetle god, vibrant and ready to push the morning sun into the sky. This mystical event is the engine of the cosmos. It is the mechanism by which the sun is able to rise again each day, renewed and powerful. It ensures that life is not a linear path to decay, but a continuous cycle of decline and rebirth. Having been recharged, Ra's soul separates from Osiris and returns to the solar barque. The vessel continues its journey, now moving with renewed purpose and speed towards the eastern horizon. The deepest part of the night is over. The union has been successful, the cosmic battery has been recharged, and the promise of a new day for the world of the living is now assured. The solar barque glides into the 12th hour of the night, the deepest and most sacred cavern of the Duat. The air here is not filled with the clamor of conflict, but with a profound, resonant silence. This is the heart of the underworld, the point of absolute nadir, where the processes of creation are reversed and then begun anew. Here, the aged sun god, weary from his long and perilous journey, will undergo his ultimate transformation. The waters of the primeval ocean, Nun, from which all life first emerged, flow through this chamber. Ra's vessel sails upon these life-giving currents, and the god himself prepares for a mystical union that lies at the core of Egyptian belief in eternity. He approaches the inert form of Osiris, the sovereign of the underworld. In this sacred moment, Ra and Osiris become one. Their spirits merge in a divine synthesis, known as Ra who rests in Osiris. Light and shadow, the living sun and the lord of the departed, are no longer separate entities. This fusion is the engine of cosmic renewal. Ra's divine energy flows into Osiris, revitalizing the underworld and the blessed souls who dwell within it. In return, from the stillness and latent power of Osiris, Ra draws the strength for his own rebirth. He absorbs the secrets of cyclical life, the promise that every ending is but a prelude to a new beginning. The gods accompanying him on the barque fall silent, bearing witness to this holy mystery. The justified souls, who have navigated their own trials, feel the warmth of Ra's presence and are themselves rejuvenated, their existence in the afterlife affirmed and strengthened. The sun god is no longer the tired old man who entered the Duat at dusk. He is infused with new vitality, his divine essence recharged. The light of his solar disk, though still hidden from the world above, begins to burn with a renewed and intensified brilliance. The journey is not yet over. One final colossal obstacle stands between the renewed god and the dawn. But now, he possesses the power to face it. As the rejuvenated sun god steers his barque towards the eastern edge of the Duat, the waters begin to churn. A shadow of immense proportions rises from the depths, a being of pure chaos and non-existence. This is Apep, the great serpent, the eternal adversary of order. His goal is singular and absolute, to swallow the solar vessel and extinguish the light of Ra forever, plunging the cosmos into an endless, featureless void. The confrontation is inevitable, a battle fought every night since the dawn of time. Apep is not merely a creature, he is the personification of Isfet, the cosmic principle of chaos that stands in opposition to Ma'at, the divine order. His coils are said to stretch for miles, and his roar is the sound of worlds unmaking. But Ra does not face this ultimate challenge alone. The divine crew of the Manjet, the barque of millions of years, stands ready. The god Set, often a figure of disruption himself, takes his place at the prow. In this nightly battle, he is the chief defender of order, wielding a celestial spear with unmatched fury. His strength is essential to physically repel the monstrous serpent. Other deities lend their power. The serpent god Mehen encircles the cabin where Ra resides, forming a protective barrier. Isis, the goddess of magic, chants powerful incantations, spells woven from the secret names of things, which weaken the great serpent and confuse its senses. The battle is a storm of divine energy. Flashes of light from Set's spear clash against the deep shadow of Apep's form. The serpent's powerful thrashing creates whirlpools that threaten to capsize the divine vessel. The struggle is not one of mere physical might. It is a war of fundamental principles. Ra, at the center of it all, remains the source of divine light and order, his presence a beacon against the encroaching chaos. Through the combined might of the gods and the power of sacred magic, the serpent is wounded and driven back. He is not destroyed, for chaos can never be permanently vanquished, only held at bay. Apep sinks back into the murky depths of the underworld, hissing in frustration, to await his chance the following night. The way is now clear. The solar barque, having survived its greatest test, sails onward, leaving the defeated embodiment of chaos in its wake. With the great serpent repelled, a profound calm settles over the Duat. The final leg of Ra's journey is not a conflict, but a procession of triumph and anticipation. The solar barque sails through the last of the underworld's caverns, which are now transformed by the growing intensity of the sun, God's light. The oppressive gloom has lifted, replaced by a soft, golden luminescence that promises the coming day. The justified souls who inhabit these final regions emerge to pay homage. They raise their hands in adoration as the vessel passes, their forms illuminated by the divine radiance. For them, Ra's nightly passage is a confirmation of their eternal life and the stability of the cosmos. They have passed their judgment and now exist in a world sustained by the god's cyclical victory over the void. Their farewells are not sorrowful, but joyous, a celebration of the order that allows both their world and the world above to endure. The barque approaches its final destination within the Duat, the Akhet, the eastern horizon. In Egyptian cosmology, the horizon was not just a line in the distance, but a tangible, divine gateway. It was the liminal space between the underworld and the world of the living, a celestial portal through which the sun would be reborn. Two massive pylons, representing the mountains that flanked the world, marked its entrance. The goddess of the sky, Nut, arches her body over the cosmos, preparing for her most important daily act. She is the great mother who will give birth to the sun. Her star-covered form readies to release the solar disk back into the waiting world. The crew of the barque makes their final preparations, ensuring the vessel is ready for its ascent. The atmosphere is thick with sacred potential. All of creation, both seen and unseen, holds its breath. Ra, now brimming with renewed power and youthful energy, stands at the prow, his gaze fixed upon the gate. He is on the very threshold of his return, a moment of supreme cosmic importance. Beyond this gate lies the sky of Egypt, a world waiting to be awakened from its slumber. The journey through the long night is complete. The triumph of a new day is at hand. The solar barque passes through the eastern gate of the horizon, and in that instant, a glorious transformation occurs. The sun god Ra does not simply rise as he was. He is reborn in a new form, one that perfectly encapsulates the miracle of the new day. He becomes Khepri, the scarab beetle. To the ancient Egyptians, the humble scarab was a creature of profound theological significance. They observed the beetle rolling a ball of dung along the ground, from which new beetles would later emerge, seemingly from nothing. This act of spontaneous creation was a powerful earthly metaphor for the sun's own daily journey. They envisioned Khepri as the divine scarab, rolling the solar disk up from the underworld and across the sky, bringing light and life into existence. Khepri is the god of becoming, the very principle of emergent life and renewal. As Khepri, Ra is at his most youthful and potent. He is the nascent sun, full of the promise and energy of a fresh start. The aged god Atum, who sailed into the west at twilight, and the powerful Ra, who commanded the midday sky, are stages in a cycle that finds its new beginning in this form. The appearance of Khepri is the signal that awakens the world. On the banks of the Nile, life responds to his gentle light. The lotus flowers, which had closed at night, open their petals to the sky. Birds begin to sing, their chorus a hymn of welcome to the reborn sun. Humanity stirs in its homes, ready to begin the day's labor, secure in the knowledge that the forces of order have triumphed once more. This daily rebirth was the ultimate affirmation of Ma'at. It demonstrated that the cosmos was stable, that life would continue, and that the chaotic powers of the void had been defeated. Khepri pushing the sun into the sky was not merely an astronomical event, it was a deeply spiritual one, a daily reaffirmation of the divine contract that sustained the universe. The scarab, a symbol of this powerful concept, became one of the most important amulets in Egyptian culture, worn by both the living and the departed as a token of protection and a promise of their own rebirth. As the sun, propelled by the divine scarab Khepri, climbs higher into the Egyptian sky, it completes its transformation into the mighty Ra, the powerful ruler of the midday. His journey through the perilous night is over. His victory is absolute. The world is bathed in the golden light of a new day, and the cosmic order, Ma'at, has been reaffirmed. This was far more than a simple myth to explain the sunrise. For the ancient Egyptians, Ra's nightly journey was the most critical event in the universe, a cosmic drama that ensured the continuation of all existence. Every sunrise was a testament to the god's power and a guarantee that the world would not fall into the eternal night of chaos. The triumph of the sun was the triumph of life itself. This celestial cycle was mirrored on earth in the institution of the pharaoh. The king was considered the son of Ra, his earthly representative. Just as Ra maintained order in the heavens by defeating Apep, the pharaoh was responsible for maintaining Ma'at in the human realm. His duties included upholding justice, performing the correct religious rituals, and protecting Egypt from its enemies. The temples that lined the Nile were not mere places of worship. They were cosmic engines designed to channel human piety and ritual action to aid the gods in their eternal struggle. The morning hymns sung by priests were seen as magical contributions, adding their strength to Ra's as he emerged victorious from the Duat. The entire structure of Egyptian society, from its grandest monuments to its most personal beliefs about the afterlife, was built upon the foundation of this solar cycle. It informed their concept of time as a repeating sequence of renewal, and it gave them hope for their own resurrection after their earthly lives had ended. Just as Ra was reborn each morning, they too hoped to be reborn into the eternal fields of the afterlife. And so, as the new day dawns over the ancient land, it is not just the beginning of another period of light. It is a celebration of a hard-won victory, a symbol of resilience, and a profound promise of continuity, echoing the ancient belief that after every period of trial, light will always return.